June Heller. Um, I grew up in Dryville, actually. Moved there when I was 6. My mom, my 2 siblings, and we moved in with our grandparents. And I lived there until I got married, and then I moved to Bowers. And about, I think 1970, I moved back to Dryville. We were there for about 14 years. Then we bought a home up in Edinburgh, that's near Hamburg. And I lived there until 2001 when I moved to Fleetwood. I'm not sure that it's really something you learn. I think by observing, you see it. And I think you see it differently as a child than you do as an adult. Like my grandparents were not very loving people, but they took us in. And as a child, you don't really appreciate that so much. All you hear are the rules and the no, you can't do that. And not a lot of freedom. And the church there for me was a great blessing because we had an organist at that time. Her name was Mary Wiltrout. And she would, the choirs, there were 3 choirs then, a chapel choir, a youth choir, and a senior choir. And most of the youth would go to the church. You know, she'd have Valentine parties, Halloween parties, we'd bob for apples. In the summertime, we'd go to the Grove and we'd roast hot dogs and toast marshmallows. And it was a gathering together. And I think had it not been for the church then, we wouldn't have had those. I guess I don't really think of it as generosity. I just think it's the thing to do, so I do it. Like volunteering at church, you know, and I've always been active in church. And I remember, you know, being on church council. I was on for 7 years. And then I think for 6 of those years, I was the secretary. And then when Pastor Wolf and Pastor Simmons were there as interim pastors, my time on council was up. And they said, well, we have a suggestion for you. And I said, okay, we'd like you to stay on and we'd like to make you the recording secretary. So therefore right then that title was born and I became the recording secretary, I think for maybe 12, 13 years. And then I thought, you know, it's time for someone else to do this. So I asked a couple people and nobody wanted to do it. And then a couple of years later, Regina came to me and she said, are you still interested in looking for someone to take over the position as recording secretary? And I said, yes. And she said, I think I can do it now. So that's how Regina came on board. I think that with faith and with generosity of people, you can do anything. There's a lot of generosity at church. You see people giving up their time and their talents, and it's amazing what you can accomplish. You just need to be willing to do it.